Hello and welcome to KUMEC, Introduction to Microsoft Teams. I'm Naomi and today I'll be taking you through all the basic features that you'll need for your teaching this year. Your computer may already have Microsoft Teams installed on it. However, if it doesn't, you can find it at teams.microsoft.com and it'll look just like what's on the screen right now. Now you may not be aware, but there is a certain etiquette required for Teams calls. Please wear headphones. This helps reduce echo on the call. You should always call from a quiet space where possible. Any extra background noise, such as other family members, washing machines, or loud fans, will make it harder for the students to hear you. If you're in a large call, mute your mic when you're not talking, and ask your students to do the same. This means any coughs, sniffles, or other background noise won't interrupt the person who's presenting or speaking. It's good practice. Now that you've installed the program, you'll need to sign in. You'll sign in using your King's affiliate account. It should look like what's on the screen in front of you. If you don't know what your King's affiliate account looks like, please email quadruple8@kcl.ac.uk. You'll need to send them a piece of identification, preferably a passport or driver's license, and they'll reset the password for you so you can sign in. Once you're inside Teams, this is what it'll look like. You'll notice on the left-hand side there's a lot of options. This main page just has general information for your use. So we'll start with a chat. So this looks like the little speech bubble on the left. As you can see, I'm already running quite a few chats. However, let's start with a new one. The new chat button is up here on the top bar. When I start a new chat, I can look for any King staff member or student by typing last name, first name. For example, Herbert-Rosalind for Ros Herbert. I can then send a message by typing the chat box at the bottom and then pressing the send, which is this small paper aeroplane just here. And sent. However, when you're talking to your students, you might want to talk to more than one at a time, so we can add more participants. So up in the top right corner you can see an icon which looks like two people with a plus. We type last name, first name into the box, for example, Paul Reaney, and then we can add Reaney Paul to this conversation. Now it's got all three of us in it, so when I send a message, it's not just going to Ros, but it's also going to Reaney. If you're dealing with multiple chats and multiple tutor groups, it can be quite helpful to have them named. So if we go up to the top here and find the little pen next to our names, we can give each tutor group a name. So this chat group will become Teacher Development Team. You can see now that in the chat it says Naomi Clark has changed the name to Teacher Development Team, so you can keep track of who's making the changes just in case a strange name pops up. So while teaching, you may want more direct contact with your students. Up in the top right hand corner we have two options. We can phone call that looks like a phone, or video call that looks like a video camera. So, if we begin pressing the video call, we can video call everyone in this chat. Let's do an example call with Ros Herbert. So, I'm going to press the video button to video call her. Hello? Once the connection is established, your video will transmit and so will hers. So you can see me down in the corner, and there's Ros. Good morning, Ros. Now, Ros has kindly left this call for us to play with. So we can turn our video off if we don't want to be seen, and then we can turn it back on with the same button just here that looks like a video camera. We can turn our mic off if we're not talking, and then turn it back on if we'd like to add something to the conversation. We can also share our screen. So if we have a presentation, or a document that we'd like our students to see while we're talking, we can share our screen. For example, here's a timetable. Now the students can see my mouse moving and I can talk to them and have a video call with them while this is being shown. You'll see a red box around the outside, not unlike this one, that shows that this is a screen that's being captured. If you're sharing something with sound, such as a YouTube video, you'll want to make sure that you click Share Computer Sound when you begin this screen share. And remember, if you change programs or change the window that you're using, you'll need to change the share as well, and this will mean stopping the share and then restarting it. Now, stopping sharing our screen is as easy as going back to that square button and stopping share. We also have other options, such as recording. When you record, you'll see this small area come up, and it'll notify all participants in the call that your call is being recorded. We can then stop by going to the 3 dots and stop recording. It'll then save that and put that recording in the chat after the call is finished. If you find your video is particularly laggy, you can go here and turn off incoming video. That'll save you a couple of extra megabytes. The other thing you need to know is where your device settings are. So under the 3 dots, it's device settings. Then you can check that your sound is coming through your headphones or the speakers. It's whether your mic is receiving, so you can see that I'm talking here because those blue lines are going up, and which camera it's using. If you find you can't hear people in the call, or people can't hear you, this is the first place to troubleshoot. Now we're in the call and we have our settings set up, we can see who's in it. So if we click the 2 people button on the bottom bar, we can see who our participants are. If we'd like to invite someone else, we can just type in their name as we would before, and it will ring them and add them to the call. We can also revisit our meeting chat. So, for example, if someone is presenting and you want students to be able to feedback without interrupting, they can ask a question in the chat and then you can get to it after your slides are finished. There is also another option. It's called raising your hand, and it looks like this little hand here. So you click it and it says your hand is raised. So then when we go back to our participants, we can see that my hand is raised. That means that you can take time and say, okay, I can see that so-and-so's hand is raised, what question would you like to ask? But remember, it won't lower your hand for you, so you have to do it yourself. That's most of the features you'll need in the call area, so let's hang up. Now we're leaving the call and we're back to our chat. You can see that our call log is in the chat. Now let's move to creating meetings. So this is my calendar. You can see the meetings that I have available. Let's use TD Catch-Up, for example. If I click into this meeting, I can see when it is, what time, and there's a link on that Join Microsoft Teams. So if you right-click that, you can copy the link and send it to anyone, and they'll be able to join the call as long as there's one King's person in it. Otherwise, you can join straight through the app if you're invited. So join, and then that will start the meeting or call for everybody. We also have meeting notes, so these are good if students want to take minutes or notes on what's being talked about, or to remind you what things you'll cover in the next call. For example, Teacher Development has the annual Teachers Conference coming up on November 4th, which we'd all encourage you to attend. There's also a whiteboard function for you to draw diagrams. Just click on the top tab and go to whiteboard. As you can see, we've got multiple coloured pens. We can draw with it, despite whatever artistic talent is available to us. But it's quick and easy to erase with the eraser. There are quite a few wee features, but they're all relatively self-explanatory. The only thing that you might like to know is if we go to the cog wheel in the top right corner, we can access the settings for Whiteboard, and this also includes export. So if your students all come together and make a mind map or a diagram, you can export it as PNG, which is a photo file, and then save it for later. We can also share files, so if you want to send your students a paper, you can go to Share Files and upload from OneDrive or from your computer direct into the chat. So it'll come up like this, and you'll see in the top right corner it'll say File Uploading, uploading one file, And then once the file is uploaded, it'll go blank again, and we can go back to the chat to see that it's been dropped in there. Voila! So I've shared a file, and you can also see that the notes have been highlighted in the chat so they're easy to find. If we go back to our calendar, we can create a new meeting. So for example, if we're going to change the day and have our catch up on a different day, we might have a TD catch up meeting. If we change the date to Monday and the time, it's very simple, just like your Outlook calendar would be. It's very easy to just type in the name of your attendees and who you'd like to add. When the invite is sent out, this description will also have a link in it. So the link will say join Microsoft Teams meeting, as we've seen before, and that will allow anyone to join the meeting on the web or in the app, whether they're King's members or not. There just has to be one person with the King's login. You can also make events repeat, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, tri-weekly. This is great for tutorials because it sets up a regular link for all of your students. And that's sent, and boom, there it is in the calendar. So if I come back into it, you can see that Join Microsoft Teams meeting is in it, and there's also the join button at the top. You can see all the attendees are already in, and you can even see who's accepted the invite. Now we're going to move to your personal Teams account. So you can see that you can set your status as available, busy, do not disturb, depending on what you're doing and whether you want to be contacted. You can also set a status message. For example, I'm currently on annual leave, and then anytime someone tries to message you, it'll let them know your status message, I'm currently on annual leave, and you can make this last for as long as you like. Voila, you can see anyone who messages me will get that message in response. I'm now going to take you through some of the least necessary items in the chat, but can still be helpful. If you type @ and then a name, you'll get an option where you can @ someone, and so that'll ping them directly that you've mentioned them in a group chat. We can also add items directly into the chat. For example, files from the computer, emojis. These little animations are very unnecessary, but they are fun, and hopefully, by following along today, you no longer feel like this man, and you know how to use Microsoft Teams. We look forward to seeing you in the new academic year. Thanks, and goodbye.